Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Quinton, and I just wanted to come to you today and tell you about the book that I've been reading. Actually, I haven't even been reading it lately because I couldn't find it for the longest time. It's called The Vanishing American Corporation: Navigating the Hazards of a New Economy. And if you've ever seen my post, man, I'm always talking about, just of course, produce for yourself, entrepreneurship, and just the market and inflation and just things that are clear as day in our society. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, this book talks about how the corporation is literally just dying out, and that's where a lot of our jobs and economy even stem from. So I just kind of wanted to just look at the intro. I'm just gonna read for you the intro and just break it down a little bit. So it says, why would anyone want to write a gloomy book about the economy? And who would want to read it? As a business professor who sees a lot of examples, I can attest that the world does not need another dull and jargon-filled book about business. But my motivation for writing this book was more personal. I wanted to give some advice to kids heading off to the world, including my own, yet I was stumped. When I headed to college, the options were clear. Now, this is what he's saying. If you studied something practical like engineering or business, you could get a corporate job when you finish school. If you studied something frivolous like philosophy, as I did, you could go to law school. And if you ran out of money and dropped out, there was always a chance of getting a union job on the assembly line. So that's what it was for him. And that's pretty much what people even still think it is today. You go to school, you can pretty much come out and get your job pretty much with whatever you study, as long as you have the bachelor's or whatever. He said that was in the early 1980s. In the years since then, we have all learned about the death of the corporate career. The company would not take care of you, and you had to navigate from job to job and company to company, sometimes shifting lateral, but over the long run, moving ahead. Today, even the job is endangered. Kids graduate from college might find themselves juggling an unpaid internship with a part-time job as a dog sitter and an intermittent gig driving for Uber. That's literally, he just painted a picture of a lot of millennials out here. He said kids graduating from college might find themselves juggling an unpaid internships. There are a lot of people out here that are giving millennials internships, not paying them. I hear that's a big problem out here. A part-time job as a dog sitter. Also, for myself, I was working in the service industry like most millennials do. A lot of millennials do. Servers, valets, bartenders, dancers. It's a lot. And an intermittent gig driving for Uber. Uber has a lot of us driving. There's a lot of people driving for Uber. I even seen a statistic that said that there's a record number of people who have 2 to 3 jobs right now that are surviving off 2 to 3 jobs. It says, if you ever played the children's game Chutes and Ladders, you have a pretty good idea of the economic landscape facing millennials today. A handful land at the right place at the right time and manage to move up, even selling their app to Facebook and retiring before age of 30. That's a very, very, very small percentage. You have people out here like the creator of Snapchat. He's very young. I think his name is Evan Spiegel. He's very young, created Snapchat. You've seen the valuation. It was like over $1 billion. He's a very small percentage of millennials that are like banking it like that in the tech industry, Silicon Valley, a lot of those areas like that. But the vast majority face a precarious labor market where one wrong step down the chute to part-time purgatory, struggling to put together enough shifts to make their student loan payments. There it goes. They said that one wrong move in this market, you could be sent down to part-time purgatory. And that's what a lot of people struggle with right now. Working part-time jobs, 2 or 3 of them that are still not making ends meet and can take up a lot of your time. Trying to struggle to pay student loan payments. I even have student loan payments and student debt. I'm not the only person that has that. It's a lot of us. They said, over $1 trillion in debt of student loan debt. I think it's like the second highest. It's either the first or second highest debt that we have in this country. The factories haven't been hiring for years, and law school only leads to a higher class of unemployment. Even the computer literate working for brand name corporations find that their jobs can be done more cheaply offshore, sometimes after they train their own replacements. That happens everywhere. What happens when you call any of these companies, to speak to customer service or anything, and it's always someone from another country. Always, like, That happens all the time. They'll say that their name is probably like some type of American name, but it's a person of the country. Why? Because these people, they're cheaper. Here, they give people $10 to $15 per hour or whatnot, and that's kind of high compared to someone in another country who will, I don't know, probably get $4, $3, $5, $6 an hour, and will do probably a better job, or it's just going to be easier. They can just contract it out, and that's what they're going to start doing a lot. It says, at the same time, the American corporation has been undergoing dramatic and puzzling changes. The shift from careers to jobs to tasks corresponds to a change in the shape of the corporate economy. He said it's a shift from careers to jobs to tasks. There are no more careers. Jobs are on their way out, and then this is going to be tasks. They're only going to need subcontractors when they're going to need it. Corporate careers only make sense when you have corporations that last a long time. But the gales of creative destruction beloved by business writers seem to be a lot heavier on the destruction than on the creation. So pretty much it's saying that these things are going out. I'm going to skip down really quickly. It says the new businesses in the sharing economy have dispensed with employment almost entirely. At the end of 2014, Uber had over 160,000 driver partners in the U.S., but only about 2,000 actual employees. Similar figures hold for Airbnb and other sharing firms. They are not manufacturers or service providers, but platforms. These are all, that's all it is, platform. Amazon is a platform. Airbnb is a platform. Uber is a platform. That's what they're creating. And these companies are huge. Like, they're getting huge. Their valuations are over billions and billions of dollars. And they're small, but they're small in size though. They don't need a lot of employees. They don't need hundreds of thousands of employees like the regular corporation through the 20th century needed. The 20th century had the birth of tons of corporations that had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of employees, and that's what we were so dependent upon. That we were so dependent on these corporations, and now they're leaving, and these newer companies are coming up that are nothing but platforms. They're not. They said they are not manufacturers or service providers. They don't produce anything. They're just a platform. They're just a tech, web, internet, virtual platform, and they're making a lot of money. So, I don't want to keep going on with this. This book is an excellent book, man. I really, really recommend that you get this book. I'm not even getting paid to say this, but it really just paints the picture of what's going on, man. And this is the reason why I talk about what I talk about. A lot of people sometimes get offended by it, and it's not even to really take offended by it. I'm just letting you know, like, this is what's going on, so we don't need to be going the same routes that we've been going. I mean, because the same opportunities are not allotted to us. Now, there are a different way of opportunities where you can produce something. That's why I'm always saying produce for yourself, because since we don't produce anything in this country, you could find something that's in these stores and produce it for yourself. You could also even find it just like how these companies find it. Since this book even tells you about how if you have a credit card and you have the access to the internet, that's all you need. Like, we have these phones, like right now, social media, we have an opportunity to do a lot of good things, but we have to see it. We have to be able to invest in it and take the risk. But it's really gonna come to some tough times, because inflation is rising, the cost of living in this country is rising, and the wages aren't rising. So produce for yourself, man. That's what I'm gonna keep saying it, that you're gonna have to produce like a product or service. Just think about that. Think about something that you can do, a product or a service. We need plenty of things. There are things that we pay for now. It's a lot, product or service, but really only a few corporations even control these things that we buy. So that's why we gotta have the local community. We gotta have a lot of local economy. We gotta have a lot of local businesses that are working together and that are, trying to produce products and services that we need, and we can able to, interact with each other and do business with each other. Produce for yourself, guys. Peace.